Hi everyone. Thank you for joining my session. I would like to thank you to DevOps Summit Canada also for having me today and then the opportunity. Uh, so today I would like to talk about how do you maximize your score for DevOps CI/CD pipeline. So let's start. So first of all, I would like to introduce myself. So I'm Najib Razwan. So I'm from Malaysia. So I was a developer and also I was IT operation. Now I'm working as a full-time DevOps engineer and also DevOps consultant. So I would love to help any organization. Would love to do a DevOps adoption or transformation. So I'm also have my own brand called DevOps for me. And then you can find me at these three platform for all the mentioned nickname. So for today's session, agenda, this is our agenda for today. So first I will talk about the background and the workshop objective. Next, I will explain to you what's a DevOps pipeline scorecard is all about. And then after that, we go to workshop part one. That will be our setup. So I will explain the environment that you need to set up for our workshop. And then for the second part, we will build after we set up for the first time. Then we do some analysis on our second part. After that, part three, we will go further on how can we improve on our CD pipeline. Lastly, I will demo full-fledged end-to-end our CI/CD pipeline. And then next, go through what can you do next for the improvement, and then summaries of today's session. I hope you can learn something from this workshop. Okay, let's start. So I think all DevOps culture shift may be difficult, but it's a significant culture change. However, DevOps make both development and operation team have some pain points, so that motivate them to work together and more ultimately. So therefore, it's a methodology that aim to make software development more efficient. So now I will talk about the role of CI/CD pipeline. So the success DevOps CI/CD pipeline is commonly listed as fundamental. Hence, any organization need to be automate their building, testing, deploy processes in order to adopt and then maximize the CI/CD pipeline. Now I will talk about what's the benefit that we can get from CI/CD pipeline. First, smaller code changes. So as soon as they are merged into our code repository, this small part can be checked, and then which is allowed our engineer to identify issue before much work has done. Subsequently, as a communication between team members may be challenged in a big development team, so that operate remotely as well, that work in-house. So the second benefit CI/CD pipeline is for isolation. So CI/CD guarantee that for isolation may be detected as part of application for isolation. So application is monitored and then determine when and where the issue occurred. So the third is make a faster MTTR. So a faster MTTR is obtained with CI/CD since the code change is smaller, and then for solution is easier to detect. This is initial that our failure that we keep minimal, and then they are swiftly recover from if they occur. So the fourth benefit test reliability. So using CI/CD, test reliability improve due to big size or specific changes introduced to the system. So allowing the more accurate positive and negative tests to be conducted. So The fifth benefit is a faster release rate. So failure recognized more quickly, and it may fix more quickly, resulting a result of CI/CD. So the code is always release ready condition. Next, small backlog. So your organization backlog of non-critical defects is reduced by incorporating CI/CD into your development process. So the smaller issue can be closed as fast into our CI/CD pipeline. So next, customer satisfaction. So utilizing a CI/CD approach also keep your product up to date, and then with the latest technology allows you to gain new customer who will select your product and then give you the honest and positive review. So next, CI/CD also increase your team transparency and accountability. So CI/CD is a great way to get continuous feedback, not only from your team, also from your customer. That's also increase the transparency between your team, and that's encourage responsible among the team. Then number 9 is a reduced cost. So as a CI/CD is automated, so it lower the amount of mistake that can occur in numerous repeated phases in CI/CD. So developer have more time to do more time on the improving the code rather than searching for the errors. And lastly, CI/CD make easy maintenance and update. So CI/CD process to perform maintenance during downtime period. This also known as non-critical hours. So we don't take the whole system down or during the peak traffic time. So to update changes in small effect, you can also do microservices. Okay, let's talk about DevOps early adopter problem. So I think this is most common problem when some organization want to adopt a CI/CD approach. So the pitfall will be around they found too many tools to try out for their CI/CD pipeline, and then they're not sure how to measure their CI/CD pipeline performance, and then lastly they're wasting time to try all the method and approach, and then they still not optimize CI/CD pipeline after all. So having said that, all the problem mentioned previously, so this is the workshop objective for today, to give DevOps early adopter idea how they can set their CI/CD pipeline. Second, to help to navigate the new approach, and then to create a CI/CD pipeline with a scorecard. So also give you some idea how to maximize your CI/CD pipeline score. So but before I start, I would like to take a moment to remind of you, this workshop is not the best practice for all problem or scenario. It's just a pointer or guideline to your CI/CD approach. And then all the tools that we will use in this workshop is just example, and then we don't endorse any tool, but you might find alternative tools suit for your environment or technology. And then we don't demonize other programming language, because I will use Python as per today. And then this workshop is not cover end-to-end, so you probably need more practice after this workshop. Okay, let's start. So now I will talk about CI/CD pipeline with scorecard. So first, what is a DevOps pipeline scorecard? So it's a score metric of your CI/CD pipeline performance based on certain criteria. So what's the benefit of it? So it keep your CI/CD pipeline performance, and also it keep your team motivated and streamline CI/CD pipeline KPIs. Lastly, it will continuously improve and learning about your CI/CD pipeline. Okay, this is some of the scorecard metric that I come up. So there will be 4 factors. One is deployment time. So usually a pipeline need to be completed all job within 50 minutes. If longer than this, I think it's no way you can call it is CI/CD, because CI/CD is make your work faster. And then if you have a big chunk of code, I think you can do a parallel pipeline or microservices approach. So the second factor will be deployment success rate. So we depend on how many deployment success rate compared to the failed deployment rate. The third factor will be automated test successful rate. So this is automating testing, and then we implement all the automate testing in our CI/CD pipeline. So automation testing is the key of CI/CD pipeline because it helps developer to find bug or issue as early as possible. The fourth factor will be secure CI/CD. So I think mostly today our CI/CD lacking of security test or testing. So I believe secure CI/CD most organization ignore or taking not serious matter in their pipeline. So hence we must at least implement like shift left approach or their set of pipeline. So it also build our confidence that our apps or product is secure in our production. So I think if you're familiar with DORA metric, which is a DevOps research assessment group that come up with a guideline to measure your DevOps performance. So this is some of the metric that already taken, and also we add some additional criteria that we use for today's workshop. Maybe you later on you can check out on DORA metric for more detail. So now I would like to start our workshop with environment setup. So this is a prerequisite for our workshop today. So as a for tool, so you just require a laptop, regardless the OS, Windows, Mac OS or Linux. On the IDE, you can use a web IDE or VS Studio Code or any editor platform. So for the source code management, I suggest you using GitLab account because most of our workshop using GitLab features. For myself, I using self-hosted, so I have a GitLab server.devopsforme.com as for today source code management. So for the code, I already prepared for you some of the repo that you can fork from my public repository. So there's 4 repository here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can fork and then fork to your own project. So for the environment, as per today, I use Azure, but for you, you can use any environment that you like Azure account, and also you can use background or VisualBox. So the OS will be Ubuntu or Linux and need to be Docker installed inside. So I think in repo, I will include also the instruction for installation, and then later on you can search for more detail. So now I would like to talk about the overall environment. So as you can see, we have a GitLab server as our source code management, and then in GitLab we have a GitLab runner. This similar like deploy agent. If you have a different tool like Azure DevOps, this is like an agent. And then number 3, we have one environment today, production environment. For fourth instance, we have a Grafana. This we will use for the CI pipeline monitoring and analyzing. And then lastly, we have vulnerability management, or we can call it defect dojo. So first, I would like to talk about GitLab server. So we are using GitLab. You can using GitLab community or self-hosted on any cloud environment. You can provision. So you can create the new project for this workshop later using your GitLab account. So GitLab offer us a complete DevOps solution from manage your backlog until you're deployed into your production environment. It's like a centralized tool for your DevOps. So this is a common concept we have in our GitLab. So job is a set of command to execute. Pipeline is a common one. It's a set of job that we organize in stages. Environment, it can be any environment that usually CI/CD have, like build, test, release, and production. Environment variable is used while we running our job. It will be reuse our variable. Job artifact is like output, metric report, or your binary or package. GitLab runner, as I mentioned earlier, is a build and deploy agent that you can provision any OS or any cloud you prefer. So first of all, we will create a new project. So you will copy all the repo that I mentioned earlier, and then go to your GitLab and then create a new project, and then click import project, and then number 3, you click repo by URL, and then copy paste the early URL that you copy from previous slide, and then put your own preferred project name, and then you can choose whether to choose visibility public or private. And then after we copy all the repo that I mentioned earlier, so now we have a 2 project for workshop number 1 and also workshop number 3. So I think if you're familiar with container, so you also probably familiar with Docker Hub. So a Docker Hub, whenever you do a Docker pull, process will take a very long time if you're using a public Docker Hub repository. So by default, each GitLab repository has its own local registry in GitLab, which is also include authentication. So this is making your Docker pull more faster than we pull in from the Docker Hub. So this Docker registry is using for our CI/CD job and then client environment. So you can take your image registry in package and registry menu, and then you can copy number 4 because we will use in our CI/CD variable later. Now I would like to talk about GitLab runner. So as I mentioned earlier, it's a build and deploy agent that execute all the job that we define, and then it's communicate with your actual meaning production or any environment that you define. So it can be enabled with 2 approach. One, self-hosted runner, and also GitLab also provide its own share runner, so you can enable it. So first, if you have your own instance, meaning any cloud you want to provision to be your GitLab, you can go to your project and setting, and then you can choose CI/CD, and then you can see a runner section. You expand, and then go and before you add, there will be instruction, and then a token that you need to bring into your instance. So after that, you can run the meaning GitLab runner installation instruction can be found in dedicated repo in the setting. So you can provision how many and anywhere that you would like to provision. So the second option that you can enable the GitLab runner is a share. So same process, you go to project and then go to setting, and then it will be CI/CD option, and then expand runner section, and then you just enable the share runner. So this shared runner will execute whatever we define a job later. So if so now we if you already provision your production environment. So as for myself, I already provision EC2 instance in my AWS, and also install with Docker and Docker Compose in it. So I SSH to my production instance, and then I copy my private key, SSH private key, and then this private SSH private key we will use in our CI/CD variable later on. So you just copy and then put somewhere else for temporary. And then you need to go to your project. So first you go to your DevOps project, and then go to setting, click CI/CD pipeline. So expand variable section. So you need a CI/CD registries, like I just mentioned earlier. We can copy, and then you can put your registry password. So usually same to usually is access token, your private or personal access token. So CI registry user is same with your GitLab user, and then deploy user private key is previously we taking from our production instance SSH key. So for prod server IP will be your production IP. So now we go to Grafana dashboard monitoring setup. So if you go to the repo that I share, number 3 repo, Grafana share, there will be already explain how you can provision. So Grafana is like a multi-platform open source analytic and interactive visualize for web application. Prometheus is a free software application that used for event monitoring and alerting. So it's a tool that record real-time metric in a time series database built in HTTP pool model, and with flexible query and real-time alerting. So lastly, we have a exporter, GitLab CI pipeline exporter that allow you monitor your GitLab CI pipeline with Prometheus. So I think once you done a provision, you will get this Grafana dashboard, and then you can see all the GitLab CI/CD pipeline dashboard. Okay, lastly, for our vulnerability management, Defect Lojo is an open source security program and vulnerability management tool. It's allow you manage your application security program. So it maintain product and application information like vulnerabilities and push finding from your CI/CD into dashboard. So it also consolidate your finding into one source of truth with Defect Dojo. So that's all for setup. So now we will start to create our build and deploy. So now I will like to switching my browser to our repo. So now I add a DevOps project. So I need to create a new CI config file. So I will create that .gitlab. So you will choose this name, and then the template will be .gitlab-ci. So if you go to our workshop workshop folder. There will be already sample .gitlab.ci script. You can copy and paste. So I will go through one by one. So we will define our stages. There will be 4 stages: build, test, and release. Lastly, production. So on our build, we will build our application task manager, and then we will install all the requirement for task manager using Python. And then the second stage will be test. So we will install and then create some simple tests. And then for the release test, we will create a new image and then push to our GitLab image registry that we just choose. And then lastly, we will deploy a new image to update our environment. So once your CI, so I just copy here and then paste all the stages I just said. So we have 4 stages, and then build stages, test stages, and then release. Finally, we have production, and then we just commit our CI config file, and then we commit to our master, and then you can go to CI/CD pipeline pages. There will be automatic trigger our pipeline, and then you can see all the stages already defined, and then it's run. So we will wait until it deploy. So just bear with me, it's taking not so much time. So now already in production, and then it deploy into our production environment. So we go back to our pipeline page. So we can see all the stages in our GitLab pipeline page to see all the process and stages. So I think we already done deploy, and then all pass. As you can see, all pass. And then okay, we go back to our slide. So in GitLab CI/CD pipeline page, we can see all the defined stages and then all the process that we define in our CI config YAML file previously, and then all the job we define in GitLab CI config file. So now what we can learn from first run. So from the scorecard, there will be 4 score. So our deploy time is obvious, less than 10 minutes. For the success rate, all success, no failure job. For the automated, we only have 1 test for now. It's just a features test and also database test. So lastly, for the secure CI/CD, I think we don't implement any security test or scan. So we look for the gap analysis. So for the gap analysis, we only tested features and database, but not the security for our open source library, and then front end script and other vulnerability tests we ignore, meaning we not implement. And then we only get latest running partner result, and then hard to compare with previous run. So meaning because you currently don't see dashboard or any analytic that you can perform a performance test. And then there's no visual or data dashboard that you can see all job and pipeline performance. So for now, we going for the improvement. So I recommend use changing from DevOps to DevOps repo that I mentioned earlier, and then you can go to main branch and then add new GitLab CI YAML like we did in previous. But before that, I would like to share with you based on DevSecOps community survey in 2020 organized by Sonatype. There will be 47 or 48 of developer that agree that security is important, but they don't have a time to spend on it. Hence, for the third part, we will automate our CI/CD, and then we will automate some of the security tests into our CI/CD pipeline stages. So from previous gap analysis, we noticed that we lack of security tests. So first, I would like to introduce you what is shift left. So shift left is a philosophy that behind DevSecOps is to begin security tests earlier in software development lifecycle. So by creating security planning, testing, and monitor to each phases of our CI/CD pipeline. So shifting left let us dealing security issue early and often. So shifting left reduce risk and the cost of fixing security issues. Now we also learn from our gap analysis previously, we lacking of data analytic of our CI/CD performance. So here we will do next using Grafana, and then we will analyze our CI/CD pipeline performance, and then we will monitor all the pipeline job, and then we will use Grafana also to monitor our environment and also deployment status. So before we implement the security test, there will be multiple component in security test. First, I would like to talk about software component analysis. So this SCA, it will automate a process that identify all your, because most of the company using open source so in their code base. So this analysis will perform and then evaluate security license, compliance, and also code quality. Why we need this? Because most of component using open source in their software development lifecycle. So hackers heavily targeting non-open source vulnerability. More popular open source, I think the more great value to the hackers. So first tool that we will introduce, safety. So safety is a Python tool that check your install dependency known for vulnerabilities. It will come up with the high report like medium, high, and low vulnerability. As I mentioned earlier, not open source dependency is safe to use, and then we can avoid any vulnerability in our code early as possible. So in our test stages, you can copy paste from workshop folder. So we will include safety. So the command will be safety check -r, and then you will against your requirement file, and then it will check all the requirement, meaning all the dependency that you require in your project. And then second tool I would like to introduce is Retire.js. So Retire.js is a JavaScript that scan JavaScript security test that scan all your web app, not app for vulnerable JavaScript library or Node.js module. Because nowadays there's many web or front end using JavaScript library. So Retire.js help you to find all the insecure JavaScript library in your code. So in our stages, we will implement in test. So you can copy from our workshop folder for the script. Now we move to the next security test is a static analysis security test, or known as a SAS scan. So this scan it will do a security test application before the code is compiled. So this also known as whiteboard testing. So it scan all the source code for binary without executing the application. And this also known as scan from your developer point of view. And why we need this? Because it find vulnerability early in our software lifecycle, and then it's easy and faster to remediate them before we can go to the next circle like QA. So first, SAS tool, we will use a Bandit. Bandit is a tool that designed to find common security issue in Python code. So it will do scan each of the file, build and like call abstract syntax tree or AST from it, and then run appropriate plugin against the AST nodes. So one Bandit finish scan all the file will generate code. So why we need this? Same with early tool that we will use to scan early security vulnerability in your code or your binary. So we will add a Bandit tool in our build stage. And then the second SAS tool, we will use TravelHawk. So TravelHawk is a tool that's searching through all your Git repository for secret. It will dig in deep into your commit history and branches, and then it's effective finding security that you accidentally commit. So because secret that were committed accidentally, so we can scan for non-type secret, so to prevent all the fraudulent use. So because there's so many cases that secret are being leaked, so that company secret being accidentally published into a public repo and then being leaked, and then finally someone misuse maybe for the Bitcoin mining and also for bad intention. So lastly, your company may be going bankruptcy. So I think there will be many cases that you can find over the internet. So we will add our TravelHawk script in our build as well, like Bandit. So next security test that we will introduce is DAS. DAS actually short form for dynamic analysis security test. So it will scan through all your front end to find vulnerability through simulated attack. So it's also called black box. This approach usually using by attacker or hacker site. So why we need that? Because our developer don't have to rely solely on their own knowledge of when they're building application. By introducing DAS in our CI/CD pipeline, you can catch vulnerability in the application before it deploy to production or public. So first DAS tool that we introduce is Nitto. So Nitto will check your server with over 1,250 server, and also version specific problem over 270 server. So if so check maybe you have a server configuration such as present or multiple index file, HTTP server option. So it will attempt to identify instant web server and software. So we're using Nito to save our time for searching for web server vulnerability and misconfiguration. So second, Dust tool. Nito, we will integrate or implement in our integration stages. So we introduce a new stages. Previously we have 4, so now we will introduce integration. So we put Nito script in our integration stages. So second Dust tool we would like to add is SSL lines. So it allow you to analyze your SSL or TLS configuration of server by connecting to it and detect various issues like bad certificate, weak cipher suit, or happy robot, and etc. So why we need this, because we need to check always our SSL certificate to ensure our web, our application is secure. So same with Nito. So we will add in integration stages for our SSL script. So next for Dust tool, MAP. So it's actually is a short form for network mapper. So it's a free tool. So it's scanning your network discovery. So it also identify misconfiguration. Maybe some of the port you're not supposed to open, and then it will tell you and then come up with the report. And we also include nmat CI config in our integration stages. So last for Dust tool, we introduce a Z baseline. So actually it's provide a baseline, scan features, and it will find you the common security fault in your web application without doing any active attack. So why we need this? Because it's easy to automate, and then you can use scan security issue in your CI/CD pipeline. So you don't have to wait until your application is deployed before running a security scan to it. So test it with Z as soon as possible. So we also include Z baseline CI configuration under integration stages. So as for DevOps Dojo, so once we have selective stages, we need to upload our report into vulnerability management. So we using DevOps Dojo as our centralized vulnerability management. So we can see all vulnerability in one single dashboard. So we will going to upload 2 scan report for this workshop. So for our SAS bandit scan and also Dust Z baseline scan to our dojo. So it will go under after script section on representative stages of job. Okay, now I'm switching to our repo. Now we in the setup repo. So as I tell you earlier, so we add new git our CI config git-led CI YAML, and then this also git-led dash CI YAML, and then we can go to our workshop under the setup repo, and then you already have all the script that I show you earlier, and then we just copy and then go back to dash git-led dash CI YAML, and then copy paste here, and then you can commit your CI config. Commit. Once you commit, you go to your pipeline, and then we can see all the changes that we already make in our pipeline pages. So while this is running, so I would like to show you our task. Actually, this is our task management production. So it's working fine. And then if I log in, yeah, we can go to a dashboard. And then as of for now, we don't have any tasks. So this is okay. So for defect dojo, we already provision. So this is our defect dojo. And then for Grafana, so if you go to Grafana, you already see here lab. So meaning for the past 5 minutes, you can see all job running. And then if you go back here, now we have a bandit. So if you can compare, currently is current project. So you can go and monitor is created. Now running is release is running. So if you go back, so running is already done. So by looking at Grafana performance monitoring, so you can see in one glance everything is running, or anything that being failed, you already can identify here quickly, rather than go to GitLab pipeline itself. And then all the statistic for the past 50 minutes already shown here. And then this is your CI environment and development. So this showing all the production or staging environment that has been successfully deployed. If we go back, so now I think we almost done. Now we have a baseline, Z baseline stages is running. Or you can just go to your dashboard, and then you can see what job is running now is nmet, or you can just refresh, and then you can see what's job running right now. Still a Z baseline, so it will take some time. Maybe I go one by one. So in our builds stages, so this is normal. So we have our SAS bandit stages that being failing. So we also successfully upload result into Defect Dojo. So later on, I will show you what being failing, and then what issue we have in our SAS bandit. As for SAS, and then we also can see our secret report here. As you can see, it's blank, so meaning we don't have a problem for our secret. So everything is good. So now I think we currently in last stages. meaning pushing the latest code into our production. And then for the retire.js, so there's an error, and then we can see and same goes to our safety. So by artifact you can see the report here, the result. So retire.js will list down all the vulnerability that found in our code. I think if we go back, I think we already done. So we done in 4 minutes. So we pass with partially success. So meaning there's multiple stages that has been detected as fail. And then if you can see previously we say we will upload bandit and also z baseline. So if you go to your defect dojo, and then you can see all the active engagement. So first bandit, so you can see the latest scan here, and then you can see, okay, now we have one high risk, medium and low. So defect dojo give you the ability to see what's happening on description, and then there will be if your vulnerability is listed, and then it will show you how you can do a remediation. And then when we go back to our engagement, so on the baseline here, the latest one, and then as you can see, we have several medium and low, and then by clicking one of, and then it will show you what's where is actually the problem, and then with description of the vulnerability is a cross-site scripting XSSL, and then data injection, and then with some mitigation that you can do, and then the reference for common witness and also enumeration code that you can further search for that, and then do the remediation later. So we done our build, test, release, integration, and production, as I showed you earlier. And then now what can we analyze? So our deployment time still below 10 minutes. And then yes, we implemented end-to-end test, and then the success rate fair, but we have some failure, but it doesn't make our pipeline fail overall. So we still make it true for our workshop. But probably in future we have multiple environment, like we deploy to the QA and testing, more staging. So there will be a failure at a certain point. On the secure CI/CD, we have end-to-end security test and scan implemented. So now the gap analysis become lesser. So we now only have security vulnerability issue. Some of the stages are partially success, and some of the job fail due to the security test. For the Grafana performance analysis, as you can see, I shown you earlier that we can monitor and then by dashboard that we can also determine and then see overall of your CI/CD pipeline in one glance, and then it helps you to monitor your CI/CD performance by any job that requires some attention or for improvement, or any job that make more time than expected. You can see in one single dashboard. And then later on, you also can put alert maybe some of the stages that taking so much time rather than expected. And then also I show you some Defect Dojo features that can we can upload to our scan report, and also we can do next remediation by Defect Dojo suggestion, and then it's good for the team to take as a next improvement. Okay, now we done our workshop, so now I will talk about what's next can be done in your CI/CD pipeline. So for the DevOps automation, we can learn to make our uh, our team faster to fix any failure in CI/CD pipeline. So everyone need to should understand failure quickly. So maybe in CI output with key message, so you can use a color code or with emoji, so everyone can know and more fun into it. And then second, always use exactly same environment. Like I said, we now only have a production. Maybe later on you can add more stages like QA, staging, or pre-production. So there will be more testing, and then we can catch all the issue early as possible before we actually deploy into our production. And you also need to define properly. Each workflow should be start from same and clean isolated environment. So the third one is crucial, because not many company has a documentation. So any repo to speed up the documentation, I think it's a good way to do is by edit your markdown or readme document in your repository. And then you can also using like wiki page or complement page to make everyone in the team know better about your CI/CD pipeline. So lastly, this is the most common thing as a human. The communication is crucial to be more collaborative and teamwork. As example factor that not rely on the automation. So because in the absence of this factor, I think success will extremely hard to achieve, because we need more transparency and then collaboration work from among the team. So as for your CI/CD pipeline, as you can see, I mentioned earlier, we can start at more environment, more staging environments, so that we can test more often and then detect early any bugs or any issue in our code. So in future, maybe you can use Git ops or infrastructure as a code or ISC like Kubernetes. So previously we are using instant. So in future, maybe in your GitLab runner, you can provision and then integrate with Kubernetes, so you can optimize your cost, because it's not always active, so you can destroy and then recreate whenever on demand you need a GitLab runner, and also environment. For Terraform, we can use for provision like our environment and then our GitLab runner. As an Ansible, we can use for our config management. So as you can see, we have a different config management. So by using Ansible, you can be more dynamic. And then same goes to the last that we can improve is secret management. So as early in the workshop, we just putting all SSH private key, variable or password in CI/CD variable. So you can use a tool like HashiCorp Vault. So it's a secret management tool that's specific designed to control access to sensitive credential in low trust environment. So secret represent sensitive information your CI need to be complete word. So this sensitive information can be item like API token, database credential, or private keys. So now I would like to summarize our workshop today. So first, our CI/CD with Scorecard can help us to track team performance, and then also give your some motivation to keep learning and then improve. And then your secure CI/CD or DevOps pipeline can be done in simple and fun way. And then lastly, you can optimize your CI/CD pipeline with help of Grafana CI pipeline with database visualization. So I think there's so much more to be covered, but let's stop here for now. I hope you learn something from something new from this short workshop. All example will make intentionally trivial so that you can learn and then the concept and how to maximize your CI/CD pipeline performance and capability. So yeah, that's all for today. So I hope if you have any additional question or inquiry, you can connect via my LinkedIn or any platform I mentioned earlier. And for that, stay healthy and stay safe, everyone.